So, Yograj, welcome to Sports Talk by Sports Paddock. I'm your host for today. My name is Sunaina, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning, Sunaina. So nice to join you and looking forward to having a fantastic talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of things in the short time that we have, but you are a person who is no stranger to the world of sports, and you are a clear enthusiast, if not passionate person about sports, and in particular football. So one main thing is you are currently the sports as the business development manager of SD Eibar, right? Which is a professional Spanish club.
Yeah.
So just to know a little bit more, what kind of work do you do over here and what got you into this club?
All right. So I'm a football business postgraduate. I did my master's in Belgium. After that, I got into internship in SD Eibar, which has been in La Liga for the past 6 years. However, our bad time this year they got relegated. But I'll talk more about the club and how did I end up there. So SD Eibar is a very small club in terms of the size and in terms of the location. It is in a city which has an inhabitants of 27,000. You can imagine we living in big cities in Chennai.
Yeah.
It is a very small town. So we have a funny way of saying, even if the whole population of the city decides to go to the stadium of Real Madrid or Barcelona, even 3 times the city cannot fill just the stadium. It's such a small city. It's a beautiful city. So the population of the city is 27,000. The stadium capacity is, I would say, like now it's 7,500 to 8,000. So if you look at the whole catchment for the club to get the fans, I mean, like consider a city. How many will be football fans? How many will be sports enthusiasts? So nearly 1/4 of the
very small percentage.
A lot of people say that the logical position of this club is probably a third division or a second division. However, this club found itself a place in La Liga for 6 7 years. So that I would say is like very very different in the way this club is functioning. The motto of this club is another football is possible. For me, the factors considering whatever I said, I see this is something which is very unique and it is definitely something like another football. By another football, we don't mean the football they play, which is quite unique to any club, but it is the way the club is managed in terms of the business, how they manage the funds. In fact, they would say this La Liga, the league also took a lot of good practices from Eibar in terms of how to manage the resources and establish the practices across the league. So it's quite unique the way it's managed. And in terms of the sporting reasons, I would say like you would have seen the movie 300 where like the soldiers are like defending a valley and the Persians are coming and they're trying to conquer. It is not that this team is not defeated, but it is the fight until they are defeated. If you compare the movie, so this is a team which resides a lot on their home form. So the stadium is the club is right in between the valleys. And it's like when Real Madrid or Barcelona come, it's like a big team coming to fight against a small group of soldiers. With the audience and it is so difficult place to win for any league in any team in La Liga. So I would use this as a marketing pitch to our sponsors and partners as well. So this is the comparison I used to do, and I would always say that to watch Lionel Messi or Ronaldo in the stadium, it is easier to watch Lionel Messi and Ronaldo so near in the pitch in Eibar rather than in Camp Nou or Santiago Bernabeu. You know what? It's very very easy to. It's such a close place near the pitch, all the stadiums and the places where the fans is. So it goes well with our stakeholders. It goes well with our partners as well. So
definitely,
it is a beautiful. So I had a wonderful experience. I would say like I'm writing a book on it, but I would say that I had the best internship ever in football in the whole world, and then the internship got converted into a job. Talking about the job,
you clearly did something right.
Gone into So internship was like I was very conscious that I want to get into a club which matches my values. So they were hardworking, very small and beautiful. quite humble. I never wanted to work for the top clubs, because top clubs you get into one department and then it is
You're
very
stuck.
difficult to understand what is happening in the other department. I went into Europe to understand how football is operated professionally. So for me, it all needed that I wanted to understand the overall picture rather than one particular picture. So this bordered well with my ambitions and my thinking. And I went into work with all departments, and it was a beautiful internship. Whenever you go into such an organization, it's very important to understand that you keep adding value to each of the department rather than one particular department. So I went into predominantly for international marketing. At the time, La Liga had made a deal with Facebook in India and other 6, 7 countries across Asia for
Okay.
the broadcast. So they were also looking at somebody who can help grow their brand in Asia. Because if you consider the geography of this particular club, it is right in the geographical center of three other giants in that particular region. So it is in a place called Basque, just like Catalonia down south, where like Barcelona is there. This is in a Basque country, and
Okay.
Basque country had three major clubs in three big provinces. So each of the province capital had a big club which has been playing in La Liga for 80, 90 years. And this is such a novice or a small club which came into La Liga 7 years. So literally for every bit of small ticketing to the sponsorships, they had to fight, and they had no other choice but to go international. So they were looking at people who could work in industrialization, and that was the time where I found myself in that place. It is one of those things where you are in the right place at the right
Right
time,
time.
and I tried to put my values together, and it matched together. Talking about the work, uh, I work in new business development. I started working in new business development, which means a football club traditionally earns by various routes, like for example, broadcast money, commercial, which is
Mm-hmm.
ticketing, marketing, sorry, merchandising, and hospitality. Apart from the sponsorships and partnerships, but however, I always try to bring that aspect of earning where it is not traditional, like something which could be a football schools, or it could be something related to esports. So I was taken for a role that could try and find innovative solutions to bring money into the club. So this is
Okay.
how it started. However, based on my the way things went for me, it was difficult to convert into the work permit in Spain. So I had to operate from India, which meant that
Oh.
I had to start working globally in India. And Japan was also a strategic country. So I started working with Japan and India, and slowly my role developed into international business development. It could be brand building, it could be increasing the awareness about the club, it could be building the strategic partnerships, like institutional relations. I work closely with La Liga India also. It could be also working with companies operating from Spain in India, or companies in India operating in Spain to try and develop synergies or how they could work along with football clubs. So this has been the work for me in the international marketing. However, due to the pandemic, things have again changed
Again, change.
courses.
That's something every sports person or sports
Every
management
sport,
student has seen.
yeah. So even you have to find ways to adapt yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to find yourself a place. So in the last, I would say like 6, 7 months, I've been working with the club, with the local sponsorships, and how to create strategies to try and modify to the scenarios adapting to the COVID situation. So I mean, like I've gone through leaps and bounds during this working as well. Yeah.
So during your work experience and your internship, I mean, did your internship and working with different departments help you to sort of broaden your mindset into working like with your current job right now? Or do you think people should be more specialist and, work towards one particular thing once they know that, they're good at it? Most people have that dilemma.
Yeah, like correct. It's a brilliant question. I mean, like it all boils down to what you want to do and the purpose you are there for. I wanted to go to Europe to try and understand the way the football is operated. My plan was always to come back to India. So for me, I had to make even the single opportunity that was available to me. With this mindset, I had to understand how the club is operated in multiple ways rather than one particular way. With somebody with this mindset, I had to open myself up to the various opportunities. How this club worked with different stakeholders, but also with the league. How did they coordinate with the league? Because if you look at ISL, it is just like what, like 7, 8 years old. maybe
True.
we would be in a position to help them later in some point of our career. So we need to understand how it is being operated in the heart of Europe. So this was in the mindset for me, and for me, somebody with this mindset, I thought it is better to try and expose yourself to as much as possible. But if somebody is considering them to be very specialist, I would insist them to go for like one particular department rather than all these things. I can interact. I mean, I interact with a lot of people who want to go to Europe because they see that I'm somebody with some bit of success. So when they interact with me, they want to probably like stay in Europe and not doesn't want to return back to
Come
India.
back to
I mean,
India.
like they want to work, which is completely fair depending upon the person. And to them, I say that like go for what you find and go for what fits in you rather than trying to work in a multiple places.
So you
It's
say
my
that
personal.
if one person wants to go for a specialistic job or specialist department, they should go to it
Yeah.
holistically, not necessarily that they should go
Yeah.
everywhere. Because sometimes some people can get lost, right? When they put their hands into everything, not everyone can be like you and like holistically come out with, okay, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's why I said like it's a purpose, and if the purpose saves you first, and you will definitely serve the purpose for the organization revolving around you. So it all starts within you, and it's very important to identify that first. Depending upon that, you can change the routes. Yeah.
True. And speaking of purposes, I mean, you have studied and worked a lot in sports. I mean, you studied at IFBI, which is International Football Business Institute, and you've got your football player intermediation certificate as well from Barcelona.
Yeah.
But has this sort of helped you get to the place where you are, or is it solely experience and working the number of years? Because if, say, a person wants to get into sports, do they have to first certify themselves, or should they first work and then build a career and then study? What do you think should be done or ideal?
Yes, in like I mean, like I will answer the second part of the question first, and then slowly, gradually move to the first. I would say like to work in sport, yes, you need to have the prior experience of working in some other industry in a managerial experience, or you should have handled sufficient amount of sports events or like sports marketing or something. It would be nice to come with that expertise into your post graduation learning of these courses, because you need to understand what the ecosystem at least is there in and around you, and then when you come and topple it with the quality education you get here, I mean, that will be the brilliant combo. What people might do is like people might directly jump into this education. There's nothing wrong. There's no
Hard and fast rule.
fast rule. But the thing is, when you come and like find yourself immediately after your education, the thing is like you will be lacking experience, and the other candidate who's having experience of a managerial experience or with a sporting experience is definitely going to be ahead of you, and you might struggle. I mean, like there have been students who came with me, and maybe they had this. I mean, like they didn't have the profile, or like they didn't have the time or the experience with them to compete at that space. I mean, so I would say that you either come with good managerial experience in some other industry, or you come with at least what is happening in the sporting environment in and around you. Be part of like you try to intern yourself in a sporting organization, try to understand how the industry works there, and then come into the industry, do these courses. It will be brilliant. Now, talking about the first part of the question, all these courses, India or abroad, it all comes to networking.
Very good
Quality
point.
of knowledge these days, you can get it anywhere. I mean, like there are like universities or like offering content, YouTube content. Lot of good YouTube the accounts do very good executive education. They good very good coaching education. If you're really smart, you can identify the sources and do with it. But the only problem is the sporting industry, whether it is Europe or India, especially football, it's very 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 small, and it's very
Oh,
very
even
tight and
internationally.
very tight and closed, very tight and closed. And I mean, like to get into the industry, it's very difficult. You need to know the correct network of people to get an access into it, and that is in Europe. I would say in India it's even more difficult because uh, a lot of people might be insecure. A lot of people who are operating or administering the situation in the country, might be a little bit insecure with the sudden influx of young people. So you need to be really, really making the right contacts, right moves, and network to get into the
Wow.
industry. I'm thinking, this is something which could be very alarming for people to
Yeah.
understand, but this is happening. I've literally faced it, and I can see how I have been able to make the roots in a proper like networked way, and how my peers are suffering to make that without this networking. So to get to into these sort of courses, yes, you will be getting the know-how, you will be getting the quality education, but the prime most important you're going to get in these courses is networking.
Networking,
So this is
contacts.
yeah, context. Means this is the main post graduation which I did, but I clearly understood that I'm going for networking. Next, I am someone or like anybody who's in any industry in this current times need to constantly try and improve their knowledge in the industry. So
Mm-hmm.
intermediary certification is something which is player management and player agent or something. So this is something which is not particularly what the area I'm working in. However, it is something which is not accessible to me at this point, or I don't understand at this point. So
Okay.
constantly you try to learn something in your subject as well as something which is not available to you at this point. So during the pandemic last year, everybody was suffering, and maybe they were getting a lot of free time to work, and that was the time I thought, okay, let's try and invest the time into
Study.
understand how the agents in football work. So SBA Barcelona, they offered us intermediate course. So I made sure that for a 3 month course, I tried to understood. It was like a lot of agents coming from football across. I mean, like coming from across the football industry. So I happened to even listen to Barcelona's keeper's agent personally. How did he develop his intermediary thing? So it was really, really an interesting experience. Apart from that, during my time in Football Delhi, where I was helping them, I also happened to attend the D license coaching. My
Oh,
aim
lovely.
was to not pass coaching certificate, but I wanted to understand how coaching licenses are conducted in India in the lower levels.
Okay.
So, I mean, like, if you want to be a top administrator or if you want to be a top a sports management guy, you need to
Mm-hmm.
understand how systems are operating in all the levels. And
Absolutely.
then I happen to also do the grassroots certification. So I might not be a coach tomorrow. I might not be a coach at all.
But
But
you're
you need to
aware of
understand
all
how
these departments, of all these spaces.
I'm someone who I believe that if you're in sports industry or other industry, you need to know what is happening in other areas of the industry so that you can then only holistically develop concepts and systems which can fit in all these profiles. Apart from that, I involve my scouting as well, which is not going to be my work because I work in the executive side of football. But it is very important to understand that after coming into the industry, you try to learn and pick up all these things.
Yeah.
Sometimes people all the certifications before in coming industry not knowing what to do. It's like people, somebody who's going to take your interview is going to ask, why have you done an executive thing, why have you done a coaching thing, why have you done a
They'll think you're
scouting thing.
scattered.
People are scattered. Nothing wrong you can do for understanding or like you can do for knowledge purpose, but you need to understand where you're going to work and what is the purpose. It might all come together later as a circle, but you need to understand like why you're doing a particular.
No, that's a very good point. And especially since you brought up Football Delhi, and since you spoke about how you've been networking despite all your certifications and working with Barcelona, you've also played an important role with women's football in India, where you tried helping women play on the international platform in Spain and with partnerships and sponsorships. What was that experience like, especially now for Indian football, like women's, we're trying to like push Indian women to like play more and we're trying to showcase them more. Were there any
Hmm.
milestones that you reached during this process or this journey?
Yes. So I was talking about networking, right? So it is very important to have the mentors. So my mentor is an Irish guy, and he is into marketing and strategy and governance. So
Mm-hmm.
he insisted that since I did not get my work permit in Europe, and since you are based in India, it is
Mm-hmm.
very highly important that you base yourself near particular mentors in the Indian industry. I was looking at Shaji Prabhakaran sir, who is the Football Delhi president, and my mentor has also worked with him. So it was like win-win situation for everybody. I shifted myself from Chennai to Delhi purely for this purpose, because Chennai is a place good for fan culture, but Chennai is not a place for executive side of sports. So I moved to Delhi
Not a
to
good
stay
place
close
for what?
really executive. I mean, there are
Executive.
lot of sporting events or like management events happening in Chennai with sports. So I moved to Delhi to stay in close connection with AFF, La Liga India, and also Football Delhi. It was a strategic point which I already made sure that I'm going to do this. And I went in like Football Delhi. Football Delhi was a project where like it is a state association, which means it comes with a lot of problems. And I offered myself to work for free. In return,
Wow.
and sir and Football Delhi, Shaji Prabhakaran sir and Football Delhi also try to give what the experience what I wanted. I mean, like they gave me the exposure to work and understand how an state association operates. They needed a lot of help in marketing and sponsorships. Fairly, I would say like I've been able to get into one top sponsor for one particular big league, which I'm very very happy that my time I could really help them. I was also able to conduct a regional tournament for Delhi Metro Corporation. I'm a DMRC, so I was
Okay.
able to conduct a tournament for them in the very much coveted Ambedkar Stadium, which is quite a big stadium where even India plays. So these things, when I look back, it is a very good time. But Football Delhi became the base for my connections in India. The sporting education company or like the projects which I am involved in right now, India as a consultant, it all came from that experience. So if at all I was thinking to sit only in Chennai and think about only working with ABAR and not doing anything or
You
connections
would
or
not grow as
networking,
much as you had now.
never. So one thing is to reach at a particular place. One thing is saving the place. One thing is thinking future and keep running at it, because this is the age to run. This is the time to run. And India needs a lot of support. And when I when I went to Football Delhi, things were not easy. So to give
Okay.
a short picture, sponsorship in Spain, even in my internship,
Mm-hmm.
I signed a Japanese sponsor along with my colleagues, of course, in 4 weeks. That's all it took to sign a sponsorship, to create the strategy, reach out to people, get the sponsorship.
Hmm.
However, in Football Delhi, things were very, very difficult. It was not easy at all.
Why is
This
that?
and that. It's just that the assets might be a little low to sell,
Okay.
and the fans might not be really aware of what is in they are going to get, and it's just different properties what they can offer. So I mean, like things were really difficult, but that's how it is going to be. Like people cannot think that if I'm able to succeed in Europe, I'll be able to succeed in India. I mean, like you have to put the hard on efforts and understand the market here, and
That's
that's how it is going to be really really different. So
that's true.
talking about women's football, uh, so this is by an accident where like during my internship I got in touch with my sporting director of women's team. So he suffered in English, and I suffered in Spanish, and we became friends with sign languages. And then he started taking me as a friend along to the I mean, like sporting director keeps scouting players for the team for the next
Mm-hmm.
year or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we traveled across the Basque region and we went for the matches, and
Okay.
slowly the relationship grew stronger where like it opened my another opportunity to work for the women's team. So during the weekends, instead of sitting and eating some pizzas or burgers at home and watching Netflix and Amazon Prime, I'm in another country doing an internship. I wanted to maximize it. So I went with this guy, and this guy opened me the entire women's football ecosystem for 6 months in Spain. So when I started observing women's football,
Mm-hmm.
when I started observing women's players from the age groups, like for example, like 11, 13 to 18, 21 to senior teams,
Oh, so
the
from
very
grassroots
reason why,
till like professionals.
yeah, 7 months, like all this I was doing is this observing during the weekend. When I observe, the very reason why a girl or a woman play football is completely different from the way guys play football. I don't know if you have played sports. Um, Maybe for a guy, the playing the sport is following the stars, following the camaraderie, being with the players, matching all this like stuff. But for a
Matching
woman,
their
it was
heroes,
all
basically.
something like that. But for a woman or a girl, it could be fun staying with friends, like having a good time together. So the fundamental aspect of the reason for playing the sport differed, and the problems in football in women is completely different from the problems in men. I mean, like the amount of girls drop out from the game during their I mean, like the ages where like they really undergo the bodily changes, those times, as well as the problems in the sport, like there are lack of sponsors and the way they pursue sports. I mean, like for example, Bala Devi is there, Dalima Chibar is there, Bembam was there. So there are players are there, but still the number of stars who these girls can look up to is very less to the number of stars in men's football, for instance. So
True.
in
But they
in
are
terms of
still
the
coming up, like women like Aditi
still coming up.
Chauhan and like so many
Yeah,
women are doing
so
and
many girls are
giving
coming.
back also. They're giving back to the
Yeah.
women's football community.
So the fundamental difference and the way the commercialization and the salary wage terms, everything was different, even in Spain. So I could understand that how it can be a lot of suffering points for a country like India. So I
Okay.
wanted to make sure that at least for the Eibar team, I'm bringing one national player to the team and trying to make them play in the second division. I tried my best. I cannot take the names, of course, because they are having their careers now in different places. But yes, I tried my best to try and take a player, but it was not materializing at that point of time. So yeah, women's football is in its own way growing bigger, and we need a lot of executives from even women. I mean, like a lot of guys are moving and doing this kind of programs and this kind of certifications and studies. I would love to see a lot of women also coming up front
Getting into the
and
sports and
trying.
yeah, true. It needs
Yeah,
that. So that's a very good point. But
definitely.
you spoke a lot about how you worked in Barcelona internationally in Europe and how you're working in India right now, and you had difficulties in both. But what are the differences in both when it comes to like when working inside sports management internationally and in India? Do you think India can reach that level, at least not in terms of playing, but in terms of management?
So, I mean, like, I have not achieved bigger things, but maybe you can
At
see
least you've
I'm a
seen
live
it.
example. Yeah, I'm a live example. For instance, I don't think we are yet there in terms of our technical or coaching expertise to match up to the level of Spanish people. But however, if you look at the executive side of football,
Mm-hmm.
the the European market in terms of the business, the number of fans, the number of brands working in Europe
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like saturated. That it's very hard to find more brands and more fans in Europe because the smaller age fans are probably moving to esports or gaming or some other sports. So the only space for these organizations, either the leagues or the clubs, is to come to Asia, Africa, North America, South America to grow, widen up their audience to make it a bigger sport. Trust me, every sports property in the world is trying to capture or trying to get into the big countries like China and India. So you could see like in the past 10 to 15 years, maybe even F1 tried to attempt a booth circuit in India. Uh, La Liga is here with an office. Premier League has conducted a lot of house watching parties. Uh, and all the sports properties do specific content with respect to Indian market to try and capture the audience.
True.
Now, the next step forward these properties is to find the elusive talent in either of the sport. It could be tennis, it could be football, it could be whatever sport. Find that elusive talent and then take it to their league or their club, and then you cannot
Sorry?
you cannot sorry that chemical. So you cannot imagine the size of business and volume of business it can create. So this is the potential. And if you look at this aspect of the sport, which is very important for the business of the sport,
Mm-hmm.
I think we can be the masters of it.
Okay.
uh, I mean, like the international marketing, it comes with the knowledge of how a particular market works. And when people like us who knows this country in and out, we are the best to conduct these things. If you talk about the management aspect of football, for instance, I would say even in Europe, it's not the biggest professional structures. So I would say like 10 to 11 clubs are the best professionally run clubs. Apart from that, there is huge scope for professionalization. And
Okay.
historically, if you consider Indians run companies very well, that's why you find a lot of Indians in a lot of big companies in all over the world. So it is just that we need to be really, we should not have any complexes. When you go and pitch yourself to any of these clubs or any of these sporting bodies, go with the confident pitch that you know to run systems, you know to run that aspect of departments really well. And definitely there is a huge scope in the executive side of sport initially, even though if you're not matching in the technical aspect, we definitely can match the systems aspect and the executive side of football.
Wow,
Definitely.
that's such a promising thing to say. And I think people getting into sports would love to at least start off on this note, knowing that, okay, there is a path, there is a promising aspect that even in India they can work as well. So that's amazing to hear, Yogaraj. So lastly, I'd
Thank you.
actually like to ask your advice. What would you basically advise someone who aims to enter the sports industry? What would you tell them to like look at first, or how do you suggest they start out first from your experience?
From my experience is what I can tell. I don't know if I'm a creator or something. My experience is that the current age, the digital age, social selling is very important. You need to
Social
create a
selling
brand
of yourself.
You need to of yourself. You need to create a brand for yourself. Will be very honest, Sunaina. The way you're doing this video, I have a very good feeling that this is going to be a great content even for my branding. So once this content is up there on Sunday, probably I'll reach out to you and say if I can share it in my social networks, whether
Absolutely.
it is Instagram or
Absolutely.
Facebook. This is how I'm already thinking while doing it on Wednesday or like Thursday itself. You can imagine that I want to make sure that how it can be working for both ways. And today's world, it's all digital, and you need to have a great profile of your branding in
Definitely.
LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and whatnot. If for example, I hate to be in certain platforms, but it's just that I have to be there so that I stay relevant and I stay in the know of things. So social selling is very important. And even if you're not into sport, if you're thinking into sport, start social branding already and then come into the sport. It'll be like you'll be easy. You could see people of 35 years, 40 years in the Europe, for instance, not feeling bad to keep updating. It will be a little weird to understand like why are they doing it on each platform every time the same information. Yes, there are people in certain platforms and there are those people not available in certain platforms. It is just
Correct.
that you're trying to reach out to them and building a brand for yourself. You need to constantly do it. So in this age, social selling is completely very important. Next one is it is very important to choose your mentor. Is what I believe. The
Point.
initial
Yeah.
3 4 years at least you need to choose your mentor. You can try to stay and travel with the mentor lifelong also, but at least this 4 years you need to choose your mentor, and they are the ones who have been experienced in this industry and they can definitely guide you what you're doing. And it is very important to have this conversation like probably a monthly once or like twice in a month or like once in 2 months, so that you keep updated and they also tell you, okay, this could be a space where you can work up. It doesn't work by recommendations. It is not like, hey sir, can you get me into this job? No, it doesn't work like that. But at least the sharing of these connections and networks. I
True.
mean, like, I'll be very honest, the Football Delhi project came through my mentor as well. It was not recommendation. I need to pitch myself to Shaji sir and earn my opportunity, but it's still something and often opportunity which I might not even thought of. That's why the mentors are required. And last I would say is, see, you need to be a little bit proactive in terms of trying to be the gap filler. By gap filling, I mean like at times uh, you might have to fill in a space, try to get into the industry, and then try to figure out what is your area of expertise. For example, you could be very good in terms of events and operations.
Okay.
Whereas the job could be a marketing in a small scale, a sponsorship in a small scale. Get into the industry, try to do that work, try to do the basics right, do something about, get into the industry, earn the connections, and then try to go into events and operations.
Try to be adaptable, basically.
Rather than sitting and waiting for that, okay, I need to just go into events and operations and not getting into the industry. I see a lot of young people do these mistakes that they're waiting and eventually it doesn't turn up. Instead, you can get into this job and then try to figure out a way where you can do the right connections, explain to people that I could be good at this, and definitely it will open up. To start with, I never thought I'm going to be a marketing or a business development guy, but that was what was available to me, and I received it with both arms. And now I'm in spaces where I want to be at the end of 4 years. So I'm really, really proud of my choices I've made, and it definitely can work for other people as well.
I think that's very well said, very well put, how one should start, how one should look at it, and how should go forward with it also. Very well put, Yograj. Thanks.
Thank you, Sunaina.
It's been a good talk. I think you've touched upon a lot of points, and even I didn't know certain points about how you spoke about the international proficiency and India, and how we can still come up to that level if we just approach it confidently. So thanks a lot for that. I think our viewers will be very happy once this comes out on Sundays. So looking forward to it. And again, networking. This sports talk is meant for getting everyone's story out, getting information like you, like from your background, from your adventures and experiences, and put it out there for people to actually learn from it. So this is our initiative, and we're glad we can help you out also as well in the bargain.
Thank you, Sunaina. It's been a lovely talk, and I mean, like the way you have hosted, the questions you have put forward, it has literally opened up. And thanks for taking me through these memories. You time and again, you need this moment to go back to your memories and have a
so
joy
sweet.
of it. And I'm more happy to, like, if people want to reach out to in Instagram or LinkedIn or any social network, I'm happy to connect with them and happy to guide them or like talk with them about the industry.
Oh, lovely.
So
we'll definitely share
network. Sure. Thank you, Sunaina. It's been nice. And thanks to Kishore for asking me to come and be part of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Yograj. You have a good day, and we'll keep in touch.